The sound is okay, no? You can hear my sound, my voice.
Yeah, yes, okay.
Now we have Jeremy C. How are you, Jeremy C? Can you hear me? You have to unmute your microphone. It's on the left-hand corner, the red. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, yes.
Where are you from?
Me, I'm from Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur, yes.
Yes.
You've been here before, right?
Yes, I have. I have.
I see. You have any question today?
Not particularly at the moment. I'm just listening. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes,
I'll go to Faye then. How are you, Faye? Faye, can you hear me?
Me, I'm from Kuala Lumpur.
Faye, you have to unmute your phone, your microphone. I don't think, okay.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Ajahn?
Where are you from?
I'm from Melbourne.
Melbourne. I see. What time is it in Melbourne right now?
It's coming 11 o'clock at night.
Quite late now, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're about 8 o'clock, so you're about 3 hours.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So I have a question. So, because of the lockdown, I've been sitting a lot more. So my question is, in terms of body contemplation or to contemplate the Dhamma, do I do that when I am in a state of calm and deep calm, or do I contemplate after I emerge of samadhi?
You have to do it after you come out. When you're in samadhi, you want to rest your mind for as long as possible.
Right. Okay.
When your mind is resting, you shouldn't let it do any work.
Okay.
After you come out of your meditation, and when you start to sing, then you can then direct your thought toward contemplation, body contemplation. Reminding yourself that the body is not you, it's gonna have to get old, get sick, and die.
Right.
Not just your body, other people's body as well. The body of everybody in this world is like that. They all will have to get old, get sick, and die. And there's no self in the body. The mind just possesses the body, but it's not the body. So you don't have to worry. You don't die with the body. You don't get old with the body. You have to teach your mind like this in order to keep the mind free from dukkha, free from anxiety and fear and worries.
Okay.
There are many aspects of body contemplation. You also want to contemplate the unattractive nature of the body by looking inside, under the skin. There are still many parts that you don't see, that you should try to teach your mind to look at, to see the parts under the skin, see the flesh, see the skeleton, see the organs.
My samadhi is not good enough yet. So now I'm doing very superficially. When I sit, I just try to see a body without the skin. So it's, almost like just eyeballs hanging out and the flesh hanging there. But my samadhi is not good enough to go deeper in yet.
You don't need samadhi. You just open up the anatomy book and you can look at it. If you cannot see with your eyes, your mind, yet you open an anatomy book, where medical students study their body parts.
Right.
You can do that. You can use the tools available. You don't have to use your own mind. Look at the different parts of the body: skeleton, heart, lungs, liver, kidney, so forth.
Okay.
So that you will see a complete picture of the body.
Okay.
Then you will not be deluded to think that the body is attractive. It's half attractive and it's half unattractive.
Yeah.
You have to have the balanced view of your body and everybody's body. Then you can get rid of your attachment, your sexual cravings for body of other people. This is body contemplation also.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Clear now?
Thank you.
We'll go to Naomi Jonas from Toronto. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Ajahn. Thank you for doing this again.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, good.
Okay. I have another question about the ants. So, I think the management in my building might come in a few weeks and ask me if the ants are still there. And I always thought that if I just say yes, it's okay. I'm not making bad karma, but I'm a little confused.
I think it's okay as long as you don't initiate it. If
Okay.
somebody asks you and you just tell the truth,
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that's all. Okay.
Yeah. So I initiated it last time. I told them. So
if you tell them indirectly, it's okay also. You just don't. You cannot tell them, please come and get rid of the ants for me.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I only told them I have ants, and
right. That's all you say.
That's
and
all
it's
I
up
said.
to them. It's up to them to decide.
Okay.
That's what we monks do also. When we have problem, we cannot do ourselves. We tell lay people. Sometimes we have branches sticking into the roof, on the roof. We just tell the lay people we have a little problem here. The tree branches is touching the roof. So it's up to the lay person that you told what's he gonna do. Whether he's gonna cut the tree for you or not is up to him. But you cannot tell him directly. Okay. You can tell him indirectly. You can tell the situation, and then it's up to them to decide what they want to do it or not.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I did. I only said I have ants. That's all I said. So is that's not actually bad karma then for me?
Right. It's not bad karma.
Okay.
I didn't explain it clearly last time.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. This is what we monks have to do sometimes. When we have things that we cannot do ourselves, then we have to tell a lay person. But we cannot tell them directly, oh, can you please do this and that for me? We cannot say, we have a problem here, what shall we do? Sometimes we need some help to fix the cabin. And we say we have a leak roof, for instance. What do you think? Just so you can say, you cannot ask them directly, can you please help fix the roof for us? This would be imposing on them. See, you don't want to impose on people. You want to let their faith, their desire to do good, decide for themselves what to do.
Okay, so I guess in my case, just in the future, I just shouldn't initiate it anyway, though. I guess, right? It's better if I don't even say anything.
Whether you find it bothering you, and you have to have them removed, then you just have to mention it to them that you have problem here with the ants. But you don't tell them, please can you get rid of the ants for me?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
If you have strong equanimity, then you say, okay, I can live with the ants.
Okay.
Then you have compassion for all beings. Okay. If you want to be a bodhisattva, then you don't do anything at all.
Okay.
You want to stress strong compassion and loving kindness toward all beings. Okay?
Yes.
Let me go to the next newcomer first. Okay, Sweetheart, you've been here a long time. We'll give a chance to newcomer. I think Tom is the next person we'd like to. Okay. How are you, Tom? Can you hear me? If you'd like to speak, please unmute your microphone. Oh, he's gone. Okay, we'll go to Isabel. Hi, Isabel. Where are you from?
I'm in Toronto.
Toronto also. Okay. Is there anything you have any question?
I do. My question, Bhante, is on the nature of attention when we're in meditation.
Can you please talk a bit louder or closer?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
So my question is on the nature of attention in meditation. So typically what I do is I move from general awareness, mindfulness of what's happening around me, to mindfulness of the body, to mindfulness of the breath generally, and then I focus on the breath at one sensation, but I maintain like background awareness of the body. And then when the mind is stable, I add in a background peripheral awareness of the mind. But from time to time, something will come up in the body or the mind. So my focus on the breath moves to primary attention on a part of the body or the mind. So my question to you is how to work with those different focus of attention.
Is this during meditation when you say meditate? Well,
Yeah.
When you meditate, actually you should stick with one object. Don't move around, because the goal of meditation is to bring singularity and stillness to the mind. So you need to focus on just one object, such as your breath at the tip of your nose. Don't let your mind go all around the body and everywhere else. This will never bring your mind to stillness, to calm, to peace and happiness. So when you meditate, you have to use one object of meditation, such as a mantra, or you can use the breath. Okay?
So 100% focus on one object.
That's right. At the tip of your nose, if you watch your breath. And don't even follow your breath in or out. Just watch at the tip of the nose where it goes in and comes out.
So completely losing awareness of the body.
Everything, just focus on just one object, your breath. Because you want to concentrate your mind into stillness, to calm. If you let the mind wander all around the place, it will never become calm or still. Then you will not experience the bliss that you can get from meditation.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll go to the next person. Gek Yen So. You from Malaysia or Penang, I guess.
Yeah. Hi, Ajahn. Brother, sister, good evening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any question today?
Ajahn, I used to take the 8 precepts in temple, Mahayana temple, together with one day full retreat. So there is a monk to host the event where we take the 8 precepts. So my question is, if we have the 8 precepts at home, right, without any monks or did not go to temple, so is there any procedure we should go through early in that morning?
Not at all. All you have to know is that you want to keep the 8 precepts, and then you just keep it. You first have to have the intention, that's all. You set up the intention, today I want to keep the 8 precepts. And you just stick to your intention. You don't need a monk to give you the 8 precepts. You don't have to be in a temple. Because the 8 precept is to restrain your mind, your speech, and your body action, that's all. So you can do it anywhere. Once you know what the 8 precepts are. In the old days, when people don't know what the 8 precepts are, they go to the monk and ask for their guidance. Once they know, then they don't need the monk to guide them anymore.
Okay. So for the lunch, if we have it, because sometimes we may have other things to do. So if we have it lunchtime, let's say 2 o'clock occasionally, is it okay? Ajahn, exceeded 12 p.m.?
I think so, because the reason for keeping this precept is to reduce your consumption of food. But sometimes if you have difficulty in keeping with the time, you can always change your clock around, change your own clock backward.
Okay.
a few hours, So it doesn't pass midday when the time we eat. You can, because we have so many time zones nowadays, right? You can use any time zone you like. But the purpose is not to eat after the second meal. Let's put it that way. After midday, more plus or minus 1 or 2 hours. And you can free your mind from worrying about eating your evening meal. Then you can then have the time to meditate. If you still worry about eating in the evening, then your mind will not be meditating. You'll keep thinking, when's the time for me to eat? So this is a distraction to your meditation.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Ajahn. Yeah.
Okay. Well, next is your turn, Rose. How are you, Rose, from Florida? Unmute your microphone, please. Okay. Go ahead, speak. How are you?
Good morning, Ajahn. Good morning, practitioners striving for Nibbana from all over the world. Greetings from Sunshine, Florida.
You have any question today? No question yet. Okay. Well, we'll go to Sweet Hand. And how are you, Sweet Hand? She's from Vancouver, in case you want to know where.
Good morning, Ajahn.
Good morning, Ajahn.
I do have a question, but I'll wait until the very last, and then if you're not too tired.
No, better do it now. So
okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Thank you, Ajahn. I really enjoy walking meditation, and sometimes I can walk about 3 hours or so. I'm wondering, like, if I often hear that you mention that it's better to sit. I think, like, I'm wondering if I should spend more time sitting rather than walking for a long time. Like, I really enjoyed it, but I wonder if I should split the. I can sit after I walk for a long time, but I guess I'm wondering, like, 3 hours of walking is too much, or what do you think?
Not at all. You can walk 5 hours, 6 hours if you like. This will strengthen your effort, and also your mindfulness. What you get from walking is mindfulness that you might still be lacking.
Right.
But you should not walk without mindfulness, though. You should concentrate on your walk, whether on your feet or on a mantra, so that your mind doesn't think. That's the purpose. But it can only give you mindfulness, strong mindfulness and strong effort. But it cannot give you jhana. See? If you want jhana, your body has to be still, cannot move around. So after you walk for 6 hours, and I think you might be ready to sit and then concentrate on your breath.
Oh.
If you have strong mindfulness and stick with your breath and without thinking, you might be able to enter into jhana very quickly. Maybe
right. After I walk for a long time, it's really good. Like, after the sitting is really good. So
That's
just
right.
walk even more, like go for 6 hours.
Yes, whatever. But the goal is to get to the jhana by sitting.
Okay.
But first you need to have the strong mindfulness and strong effort. You can walk as many hours as you can do it, because you'll be developing a lot of mindfulness and effort. So when you sit, you will have the mindfulness and the effort to force your mind to keep watching your breath. And then your mind can then enter into jhana eventually. The body has to be still for the mind to enter into jhana. Okay.
Thank you for clearing my doubt. I was a little bit worried that I'm walking too much. So that's good assurance from you.
No, there's not too much for walking. Okay. Some teacher train the student by forcing them to walk a lot first. because they don't have mindfulness enough to sit. If they sit, they can only sit for briefly and they have to get up. So then they need to walk first to develop mindfulness.
I see. Okay.
But for some other people, they can develop mindfulness by just with watching their activity. It's like walking also. Like you watch your body from the time you get up in the morning. As soon as you open up your eyes, look at your body and follow the body action. The body, from lying down, it gets up, sit down, then it stands up, then it walks to the bathroom, and then it takes a shower or wash the face or brush the teeth. You just keep watching your body, like you're walking on meditation. When you walk meditation, you watch your steps. So when you watch your body doing the daily routine, then you also like practicing mindfulness. Then if you can do this, then you might not need to walk for so many hours. When you sit, you'll find that you can sit and feel comfortable, and you feel that you can become calm quite easily. So you might not need to walk that much. For some people, they might not train their mind from the time they wake up. They let the mind wander around. So they have to train it when they do walking meditation. Because they don't understand the technique of developing mindfulness. Then you can actually develop it from the time you open up your eyes to the time you go to sleep. By keep watching what your body is doing. And stop your mind from thinking. Okay. So this kind of practice requires that you be alone and not working. Yeah. So then you don't have to engage with people. You don't have to use your thoughts with your work. The work that you do is quite basic, like maintaining your place, keep it clean, wash your clothes, eat, and so forth. So this kind of activity doesn't require much thinking. So you can use this activity as a way of developing mindfulness. Then when you're free from the activity, then you sit down and watch your breath. If you find you cannot sit, then you might have to get up and do walking meditation first. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Good. I think the next person is Marlin. Marlin, do you want to say something, Marlin? Or nothing? Okay.
I'm just listening in. Thank you, พระอาจารย์ ขอบคุณมากค่ะ
Okay. Marlin is from Bangkok, just in case you want to know. Next is Philip Lim. He's from Malaysia. How are you, Philip?
Good evening, Ajahn, everybody. I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Ajahn?
Very good. Good to see you all.
Good to see everyone also. Good to see you, Ajahn. With regarding to meditation, towards the previous question that you mentioned that the body has to be perfectly still in order to attain jhana. What happens to those uncontrollable twitching body movements? I mean, like master spasms and things like that. Those are things that you can't avoid, right?
Yes, they will become, once the mind becomes still, the body remains still. But why it's not still, the body still have some movement that you cannot control, you just leave it alone. Don't give it any attention. Just focus on your meditation object. You might feel like coughing, you might feel like whatever. If you can ignore it, just ignore it. But if you really have to cough, then you just have to cough.
Okay.
But don't let it distract your meditation. Once is okay, but 2 or 3 or 4 times, then maybe it means you're not concentrating on your breath and you pay more attention to your cough.
Yeah.
Some people feel like they have to swallow the saliva. They're afraid that the saliva is coming out of their mouth, for instance. You should just ignore it and let the saliva comes out. of its own. But if you really focus on your breath, then this problem will not arise. It means your mindfulness is not strong enough to keep your mind with the breath. So you might keep going away from the breath and be distracted by other things. Sometimes by sound, sometimes by some feeling on your body, some ache and pain or some scratch. You feel like you want to scratch your body, for instance. So it means you don't have strong enough mindfulness to concentrate on your breath. Then maybe it's good for you to walk, do more concentration first, walking meditation. But if you can continue on and disregard the distraction and stay with your meditation object, then you can continue on.
It usually comes at the very end of the meditation after a long while of sitting. Then the body starts to twitch and yeah.
It means your mindfulness has subsided. See, so if you want to continue, then you have to restart your mindfulness by reciting a mantra to get your mindfulness back, and then you can continue with your sitting. But normally, once we have sat for a while, we feel like it's enough. But if you want to move forward, extend your meditation, then you have to restart your mindfulness again. You can use the mantra, or if you can watch your breath, keep watching your breath. If you feel like not strong enough your mindfulness is not strong enough to watch your breath, then you recite a mantra. A mantra can help generate a lot of mindfulness until you feel that you can concentrate on your breath, then you can stop reciting the mantra and keep watching your breath instead.
So, Ajahn, is it okay if you're focusing on your breath for a while, assuming maybe an hour or more, and when the concentration starts to diminish, you can switch to a mantra until the agitation subsides?
That's right, until you feel comfortable and be able to look at your breath, and you return to your breath again.
And continue from there.
That's right. Or when you sit and you're in pain and you cannot watch your breath, it means your mindfulness is not strong enough. Then you use your mantra to help develop or generate more mindfulness so that you can continue on sitting and ignoring the pain of the body.
It's usually not so much of the body pain that I have. It's more of at the end of the meditation is a mind agitation.
Yes,
it's like
or the lack of interest.
Something. Yeah.
You don't want to continue meditating.
Yes.
So this is when you have to be proactive. You have to force yourself. If you want to advance in your meditation, you have to continue on sitting for as many rounds as possible. Maybe you finish with your first round. Normally we would get up, right? But if you want to push forward, then you have to continue with the second round without stopping. Every time you feel like getting up, it means you need to regenerate your mindfulness. The mantra to regenerate it again. So you might be able to continue on for many rounds. Eventually, you might be able to control your thoughts entirely, completely, all the time. Okay? Is that all for now?
Yeah. Is that all? Yeah. Is that it? I think that's it.
Okay. Well, let somebody else. Hi, Emily and Matt Shelton from DC. How are you today?
Hi, Ajahn.
Hi, Ajahn.
Doing well. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Good to see you again.
Yes, you too. Yeah, I don't really have any questions, do you?
No, just listening today.
Okay, maybe later if you have. We'll go to Alvin then. Hi, Alvin from Malaysia, a friend of Philip.
Hi, Ajahn. How are you?
Good.
Okay. Okay, Ajahn, I've got could be a very basic question. See, when we meditate and feel when we do anapanasati, feeling the object, which is the breath touching the point near the nostril, what actually knows? Is it for a beginner? Is it the body that knows, or the mind that actually knows that the breath is touching?
It's the mind. The body has no awareness in itself. The body is like a tree. It doesn't know anything. It's the mind that comes in, sends the stream of consciousness to connect to the body that can feel the contact of the breath. See, the mind sends the 5 stream of consciousness to connect with the 5 organs of the body, 5 organ parts, connects to the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. So that whenever comes into contact with this organ, it will be sent directly to the mind.
So it's the mind.
But the problem with the mind is sometimes it doesn't being aware of 1 or 2 any of this object, because the mind keeps wandering around. Sometimes it's thinking about something else, about the past. So whatever happened in the present might not be aware, but it might not be aware of. So this is where we use mindfulness to bring the mind back into the present, so that it can be completely aware of what's going on. When anything comes into contact with the 5 sensual organs, the mind will immediately know.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Following to one of the sisters' question just now on walking meditation. I think I've asked Ajahn this question before on the walking meditation. He said it's to build mindfulness. So if we go back to the Noble Eightfold Path, looking at it's like right understanding, right thought, right speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. Does it actually follow in that order? That means the right mindfulness will have to come before we build the right concentration.
Definitely, you need mindfulness before you can concentrate and have jhana. Without mindfulness, your mind will just keep on thinking and it won't ever stop. But with mindfulness, with concentration, then you can stop the mind from thinking, and then you will be able to enter into jhana. And once you have jhana, then you can go develop panya, or right view again. This is the right view on the higher level. The practice is like a spiral staircase. The Noble Eightfold Path is like a spiral staircase. It goes from one level to the next. First, you go from the starting level, having the right view that in order to become free from suffering, you need to stop your cravings. And in order to stop your craving, you need to have right speech, right action, and right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness, and right concentration. And once you get to the first round of the level of this practice, then you can go to the next level. Once you have jhana, then you can then start to contemplate on the nature of the body, of feelings, and of the mind. Okay?
Okay, sadhu.
Okay, Karina, your turn. Karina from Singapore. How are you?
Ajahn, I'm fine. How are you?
Good.
Today I don't have any question. Yeah, just coming to listen.
Okay. Go to the next person then.
Thank you.
Catherine Chan. Catherine, where are you from? Please unmute your microphone first. Okay.
Hello, Ajahn. I'm from Malaysia. I just come in to learn. I have no question.
No question. Okay.
No, not for the time being.
Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu.
We'll go to Monica Chen and her mother. Hi, Monica.
Good evening, Luanpo.
You got a question?
Luanpo, actually, in Malaysia here, we have Burmese tradition. We also have a Thai tradition. And for Burmese tradition, they do have retreats where we actually follow the schedule very in a very strict way. And we do walking meditation for 1 hour. Then we do sitting meditation for 1 hour. And we also observe a noble silence. Okay. Whereas for the Thai tradition, I realized that there is people can sit for longer periods without this short sitting. So can Luanpo elaborate a bit? So like for these different traditions, for householders, lay people like me, which is more suitable?
Well, see, when you have to have a schedule, it means you're in kindergarten. You don't know when to practice, so you need a schedule to force you to do the practice. But once you know how to practice, then you can set up your own schedule. You can switch, you can vary your time from sitting and walking to suit your preference, to suit your practice. But when you start, you don't know where to start, so you go to take a meditation course, so they have to set up the schedule for you. Get up at 4, do chanting, then do sitting, then do walking, then take a break and have breakfast, and so forth, just to keep you busy, keep you occupied all day long. But once you know what to do, then you can vary your practice. You might want to sit longer because you find it more effective, more beneficial. Some people, they cannot sit, then they need to walk longer to develop more mindfulness. So this you have to vary according to your need, your practice. And it changes, so you don't you stick to the normal schedule. As you advance, you might do something different. Your practice evolve from a lower level to a higher level. But this you will know for yourself what you need to do. Okay?
Yes, thank you, Luanpo.
We'll go to the next person. Hi, Sajal Kar. Where are you from?
I'm calling you from Silver Spring, Maryland, USA.
I see. Okay.
And this is the first time I'm able to get through, and I have read your books and I'm following your talks, and most of my questions are answered about walking meditation today. But I would like to know from Ajahn that when I'm doing sitting meditation, how would I know when I come out of it that I'm doing it right?
When your mind becomes calm and happy, you're doing it right. If you're not calm and happy yet, it means you haven't reached your goal of meditation yet. So
because sometimes I've seen that I feel calm and I feel energized, and I notice that I'm needing less and less sleep. Is that proper?
That's right, because your mind become more alert. You don't need as much sleep. So you'll be sleeping less and less as you advance in your practice. Eventually, you'll be able to sleep about 4 hours a night.
Thank you.
This is what the Buddha recommends to the monks. He said monks should practice from 6 to 10, then from 10 to 2 take a sleep, then from 2 to 6 do another round of practice until it's morning time to go collect alms. And during the day, keep maintaining mindfulness as you go on with your activity. So yes, the more you practice, then the more you find that you need less sleep. Because when you practice, you don't use much energy. Not like working. If you work as a lay person, you need a lot of energy. So you feel tired and you feel like you have to eat more and sleep more. to replenish your body. But if you are as a meditator, you don't do much physical work except from just doing some chores like washing, cleaning, sweeping, things like that.
And also, I noticed that when interacting with people, it is possible to be not so involved, so engaged. And if I keep my mindfulness, then I think it is possible not to kind of jump and interact, or react sharply, but as if there is a space. I can kind of sense that. When I lose that, then of course I may get angry or I may react sharply, but otherwise it is possible in a nice way to kind of pull myself back. Is that also, does that make sense?
That's right. It's the result of your mindfulness. The more mindfulness you have, the less emotion you will have. So you become less emotionally involved with people. You would only interact with them based on reason, rationality. If you have to engage, but if you don't have to engage, you stay away. Just say hi and say goodbye. But if you don't have mindfulness, then your emotion wants to linger, wants you to continue on engaging with that person. And sometimes you just instigate talks and things you don't have to do, but your mind wants to do. Your emotion feels lonely when it's alone, so it's happy when it's engaging with people. But if you have mindfulness, then you don't feel lonely when you're alone, so you don't need to engage with people. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll go to Rachel. Rachel, you're from Malaysia?
I'm from Singapore.
From Singapore.
Greetings, Ajahn.
Yes.
I have one question about Satipatthana. So in Satipatthana, the form feeling, the Buddha says that there are pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling. And if one tends to be in pleasant or unpleasant, you will suffer. So my question is that sometimes when we meditate, we get good feeling, we feel peaceful, happy, contented. So it is pleasant feeling. So is it correct to feel happy and pleasant? Because if we were, how do we maintain a neutral feeling during meditation?
Well, we have two types of feeling, physical and mental feelings. When we started, both we have no physical feeling, no pain or nothing. It's more or less neutral. But your mind might not be happy because your mind might be still agitated or restless. But as you continue on with your concentration, watching your breath, then your mind becomes more calm. Then the mental feelings start to arise. The mental good feelings start to arise from being calm. See, but then eventually maybe the physical feeling will start to appear. The painful feeling will appear. And if you want to maintain your mental good feeling, you have to somehow ignore the physical feeling, the painful feeling. If you are distracted by your physical painful feeling, you might not be able to concentrate, and you might have craving or desire to get rid of your painful feeling. Then you will lose the happy mental feeling, because it will be replaced by unhappy feeling, which we call dukkha. See? So when we meditate, the goal is to maintain the good mental feeling, and just ignore the physical feeling, whether it's good or bad. Just leave it alone, because what's important is the mental feeling, not the physical feeling. The physical feeling, sometimes we cannot control them. They are like natural process, like the weather. But you can control your mental feeling if you keep concentrating and keep telling it to leave everything alone. So the goal of meditation is to train your mind to be calm and peaceful and not reacting to any other physical feeling or things. Let everything alone. then your mind can remain calm, peaceful, and happy, regardless of what happens to your body or to anything that you come into contact with.
So if the mental feeling is happy, does it mean that it's no longer in the neutral state?
Yes, it's in the neutral feeling, neutral state. That's when it's happy. See? When it starts to become emotional, then it's not happy. In a neutral state, you have no emotion, no love, hate, fear, or delusion. You just remain aware of everything and not reacting to anything that you are aware of. Even painful feeling, you just acknowledge it and say, okay, let it be. If your mind is calm and neutral, it will not react. But if it reacts, it means it's not calm or not neutral. It has love or hate toward that feeling. See? And when you have reaction, you have cravings, and then you start to have bad mental feeling arising.
Thank you.
So the goal is to use your mindfulness and wisdom to keep your mind neutral, not reacting. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, next, Geraldine, how are you? From Malaysia. From Singapore.
Yeah, from Singapore. Yes. Yeah.
Any
Hello,
questions
Ajahn.
today?
How are you? Thank you. Actually, this morning I was the one who asked about the question on the Brahma Vihara and our parents, and how our parents don't behave like the Brahma Vihara. Yeah. So okay. One question is.
Did you understand my answer though?
Yes, I did. Except that when it is happening right in front of, let's say, for example, if we can conceptually, we can say we only look at the good perspective of our parents because of the kindness that they given us by raising us up and giving birth to us. But the mind is to that when maybe they start cursing in front of you, or they say very bad words like harsh speech, or I need to practice a lot to have equanimity for them. Yeah.
See, first of all, you should keep reminding yourself who your parents are in relationship to you. You should keep reminding yourself every day of your life that you owe them. They give you life. Your life came from them. As long as you have this understanding behind you, so whenever you see them doing something bad to you or to anybody, you can forgive them. See? You can see them that's their problem, that's their weakness. Yeah. There's something that you cannot do anything about, but you can overlook. If you love someone because they have been kind and good to you, you will ignore all their faults. It's not your business to be critical of their faults. It's the karma that made them that way.
So for example, because I really keep the 5 precepts, where I really try to keep the 5 precepts. So for example, I said no killing, like I cannot kill, right? Then maybe the parents would come and say, try to kill something just to in front of me, like just to get a reaction from me. Yeah. So
that's your problem, see. That's your problem. It's not their problem. Your problem is you cannot stop reacting to their action. So this is why you have to train your mind to stop reacting to other people's action.
Okay.
So you need equanimity and wisdom to teach your mind that you cannot force people to do or not do anything you want, but you can force yourself not to do anything that you know you shouldn't be doing. So you should pay more attention to your own action rather than to other people's action.
Yes, I know that.
Look at your action rather than look at other people's action. Look at other people's action like the weather. You cannot control them. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it snows. You cannot stop them from raining or snowing. So you cannot stop other people's action. But you can stop your reaction toward their action.
Yes, that is, that's what I keep practicing every day to stop my reaction.
Yeah. Just tell yourself it's not your business. Mind your own business. Look at your own action.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Ajahn.
Because whatever they do doesn't, they are the one who will have to reap the result of the action. You're not the one who will reap the result of the action. It's your own action that you will reap the result of. So pay more attention to your own action.
Every time I do dana now, I will say, by means of this meritorious deed, may I never meet with the foolish. May I always meet with the wise. So I keep wishing and wishing and wishing that I will not meet with the foolish.
Wishing is not good enough. Wishing is just a goal you set up. The next thing you should seek the company of the wise and try to stay away from the foolish if you can.
Yes, that's why every day I will come and
but sometimes you cannot. Sometimes the foolish people happen to be your parents, your relatives. Then you just have to just ignore the foolishness and then just try to look after
loving
yourself.
kindness.
Yeah, loving kindness and compassion. Yeah. Because we have developed differently from the past lives. Some people are better, some people are worse, some people are equal to us. So you just have to look at that way.
Okay, thank you, Ajahn. Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Anybody would like to ask anything, just raise your hand and we'll just let you speak, because I think we have covered everybody who has come into the meeting so far.
Dylan.
Dylan Elvis? I don't see him on my screen here.
Yeah. He's on mute now.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, Bhante, I'm trying to understand this concept of anatta. Okay, so as you said, like we can, when we contemplate, we can see when you look at a person, their behavior is, we can't control their behavior. And in that point of view, we understand it's kind of anatta. But actually, when we deal with people, we can't place it with a whole skeleton, right? It's a living being, although they are made of like the elements that is a skeleton, but it's a living being and they are in a different state. So what are we missing at this point? Like, is there, I feel like there's something we should see and we are not seeing it. Could you explain that, please?
Well, you're not seeing that you cannot always control them. You cannot always tell them to do what you want them to do, what you want them to do. So in this way, they are like the weather. You cannot tell the weather what you want the weather to be. So when you cannot tell people to do things the way you want them to be, then they are like the weather. See, so you just have to treat them like the weather.
Yes, but but when we can like talk to people and get things done, and there's a whole process of communication between, human beings, right? Not like weather. So
I'm saying when you cannot deal with them, then you have to stop. Treat them like the weather. As long as you can still deal with them, you can just go ahead, deal with them. See? But when you no longer can deal with them rationally, then you just stop, just give up.
Okay, the other thing that deviates from this concept of anatta, when I try to understand, is that like when we do a good karma, we have to pay the consequences, right? So there, who are we? Like, is
We are the mind. See, we are the mind, spiritual beings. But the mind is actually the knowing element. But due to delusion, the knowing element creates a concept of self for itself. That's all. It's just a concept. Because being you, sometimes when you stop thinking, the you disappear, and all you have left is just the knowing. But as soon as you start to think, then you recreate the you again. That's all. The you comes from your thoughts. The you, the I, the me, and mine comes from the thought, from the thinking. When you stop thinking, then the you, the mine, and the think, disappear, and all you have left is just the knowing. So you have to get to that point, to understand the concept of anatta clearly. If you cannot stop your thinking, and you cannot stop the you, the mind, the you, the me, this is just a concept the mind creates, and firmly believe in it to be true. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
All right. I think we have a new comer here, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Where are you from?
Hello, I'm from Berlin, Germany.
Yes. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I follow you since roughly a year, I would say. A friend from a Thai community recommended me to take a look at your teachings, and I really like it. And I have also asked many questions in the past over the live stream. So it's the first time that I have a live interaction with you, Ajahn. Do you hear me well?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I spontaneously joined, but I think I can still ask a question. Yesterday, I asked something about my meditation, or I described my meditation technique that I start with experiencing pleasure, which I let go of, and then I let go of the next stages and so on. Eventually, I get to a point where I just have equanimity. I would say maybe this is upeka.
Yes.
But I don't experience this moment where you feel into a well. I hear this a lot from you, and I only had this one time doing vipassana, where I realized that the body and the rest are not the same, that they don't coincide, that they are different, and after death something else goes on. In that moment, I had this falling into a well, and then I could not move for a long time. I didn't feel anything. I think I didn't have this in the samatha meditation yet, but still in the meditation for calm, I get to a point where I feel similar to that, but I don't get this drop.
Sometimes you don't get that drop. Sometimes your mind can become calm gradually, step by step.
Okay, yeah, because this was very suddenly.
Yeah, sometimes suddenly. It depends on how strong your mindfulness is. If
Yes.
you have real strong mindfulness and you recite a mantra, then you might fall down from a high place. But
Yes.
if you use watching your breath, it tends to go gradually, step by step.
Okay. Yeah, and I sometimes, or in the beginning, I started with Bhutto, and I feel like I don't have so much control over it. My mind goes wild sometimes. It feels the breath meditation is more gentle for me, at least. I get more pleasure from it, and it's like a smooth landing. And when I use Bhutto, sometimes I have the impression that I cannot control it so well.
You can choose which one you like to use.
Yes.
Sometimes Bhutto can be useful when your mind becomes distracted and you cannot focus on your breath. Then you might want to use a mantra to bring your mind back to concentration again. So you can decide what to use when you meditate, either a mantra or watching an object like your breath, or some other object. Some people can visualize the skeleton. So they
Yes.
use the skeleton as the object of meditation also.
Yes. Sometimes I use a mantra that suggests to that pushes me into the direction that eliminates one of the 5 hindrances. For
That's
example,
right.
when I feel uneasy, or when I feel that I want something, that I'm greedy, that I need calm, or that I need pity, then I say content, 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 and suddenly I feel. Sometimes it doesn't work always. It's like a always a game of a chance, like gambling a little bit. What is gonna work today? I have many tools that I try to use, and then one of them might work. And even trying that sometimes still gets me caught up in thinking too much. But yeah, this is the way I try it right now. Trying many things that I think that's an inherent problem in my overall method, that I try too many things and don't stick to one.
No, sometimes you need to switch. It depends on your states of mind. Sometimes your mind is restless and stubborn, then your mind is a stronger medicine, a stronger instrument to calm it down. Sometimes your mind is more amiable and willing, then you don't have to force it so much.
I feel like that especially, that's my impression, maybe I'm wrong, but in the forest tradition, creativity with the meditation is actually part of the whole thing, right? As long as I am within one of the 4 references, one of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, I am doing the right thing, right?
That's right. The first step is to do mindfulness. Get as much of mindfulness as you can, and so that you can calm the mind and get jhana, get contentment and peace. Once you come out of jhana, then you can start contemplating on the nature of the body, the feelings, or the states of mind.
Mm-hmm.
In that order, usually you have to go through the body first before you can get to the feelings, before you can get to the states of mind, because they are more subtle as you move on.
One meditation that or maybe do we still have time, or is it?
Oh yes, we have plenty of time today. No time limit. Okay.
One meditation method that I came up in the end of last year was the death of my father. When I breathe in, I imagine his face when he was young, and when I breathe out, I imagine the moment when they put his ash into the ground. And for some reason, this calms me down pretty quickly. It's very powerful. Doesn't work always, but I think this is also a contemplation of impermanence, and death. That's very powerful.
We call Marananusati, the contemplation of death. You can use this as an object of your meditation also. It depends on whether the right time to use it or not. Sometimes you cannot use it because the mind sometimes refuses to accept death. Then you might not be able to use it to calm the mind down. So you have to find the right tool at the right time, in the right situation.
And the last thing I think I would talk about is about 1 year ago when I started to meditate more deeply. It started that I went to a retreat when it was supposed to go 3 days, but I had to stop it because I got a panic attack during a meditation. I started this specific day reciting Buttu, maybe since 12 o'clock at noon until the evening. I try to stick with it as much as possible. And then in the group meditation, which is maybe 1 hour or 45 minutes, I slipped into it seems a very deep state. And then the monk switched on the lights, and I heard, okay, the session is over now, and I forced myself out of the meditation. And then after a while, I started to get consciousness of my body again. I started to shake, my hands, my whole body started to shake, and I started to cry, and then I was laughing, and then was crying again. So it switched back and forth, and it was very unpleasant. Like it is comparable to a car accident when you are under shock.
You lost your mindfulness. You should bring your
I guess so.
mindfulness back by reciting a mantra to bring your mind back to calm.
Yeah. In that moment, I didn't want to meditate. I didn't want to do this ever again, but curiosity brought me back eventually a few weeks later, and then I started meditating again. It was very powerful, and I realized that I have to be very cautious.
Sometimes you lose mindfulness when you encounter something very strong, and then you forget about your mindfulness, and then the emotion takes over the mind.
Yes, I have to say, in that session, I tried to remember past life. It didn't work, but I tried a technique where I was asking myself, okay, what happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago? So I iterated back in time. As the closer I got to zero, to the day I was born, the stronger I could feel my heartbeat, and I could hear it. This is also a problem that I realized also other people have. I'm not the only one, that the heart starts to pound really fast and really strong in the meditation, as if I would die, or as if death is coming right now. Something that feels like that, very, very creepy, or inflicting lots of fear sometimes. Just had it a few times, but the first time was in that session, and this made me a little bit, it shook me off a little bit.
That's because you're not sticking to your meditation objects. You let your mind on a free rein, so it can create some sort of a situation for you to experience. So it's always better to keep sticking to your meditation object and disregard everything else that happens during meditation.
Yes. All of this does not happen when I do the breath, so I stick to that. Okay. I think I'm very content with that. Yes.
Good. Can I go to the next person now? Maybe come back to you later.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Nirosha, you're next. Do you have anything to say? Nirosha, please unmute your microphone.
Good evening, Ajahn. Sorry, I joined a little bit late today.
Okay, no problem.
So, yes, Ajahn, I would like to know about these 5 spiritual faculties, because I've heard these faculties to be matured to the level of power to attain first level of Nibbana. So, if you can kindly talk on that, Ajahn, please.
These 5 spiritual faculties, meaning Sattha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya. These are the 5 factors that you need to develop your mind with. When you start, you have a low level of spiritual faculties. You have Sattha, you have faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha at the low level. So with low Sattha, level Sattha, you will have low level with effort. You put in not a lot of effort. And your mindfulness will be low level, your samadhi will be low level, and your panya will be low level. But as you keep on practicing and you start to experiencing more results from your practice, then your sattha becomes greater. It's moving up a higher level. So your effort keeps follow your sattha, your mindfulness, your samadhi and panya will follow as you move along. So when you get to the level of a Sotapanna, the noble disciple, then you have come to a high level of mental faculties. We call this the pala, power. Instead of being a faculty, we call it's becoming a spiritual power. Because with the noble ones, he is 100% have faith in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. So he will devote 100% of his effort to the practice. He won't do anything else. He will give up his job, his family, or anything like that, and concentrate on his practice. of mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. So when you see the result of your practice on the first level of enlightenment, then you know that there's nothing else you want in this world. What you want is to move on your path of spiritual path toward eventually to the final complete phase of enlightenment. So once you get to that level, it will become automatic. Your effort will come automatically. You just keep on practicing, pushing yourself to develop mindfulness, more samadhi, and more wisdom. Okay, is this clear enough to you?
Yes, Ajahn. I noticed recently I switched on mostly from the tranquility side to the wisdom side in daily life, and as well as when my mind become a little bit peaceful, I switch on to the vipassana, contemplating vipassana. Then I realize my mind gradually lose the tranquility which I used to reach very easily. But nowadays, it takes time for me to reach peacefulness or no peacefulness at all. Just is there any reason for that, or is my mindfulness on daily life maybe
Not
weak?
enough. It's not enough. You cannot abandon your meditation. You have to alternate your practice between vipassana and samatha. Because when you work on vipassana, you're using your mind, using your thought, and it can become eventually restless and agitated. So when you get to that point, you have to stop your contemplation and come back to meditate, to calm your mind, to bring it back to equanimity first before you can come back and contemplate again. So you have to know the right balance between the two. You cannot abandon your samadhi. Your samadhi is your resting place for the mind. Whenever the mind feels fatigued or tired or restless, you have to stop contemplation, and then you should come back into samadhi to regenerate strength and energy for the mind. And once you feel regenerated, you feel strengthened, then you can come back and do more contemplation again. So you must not do either. You have to do both. But when you first start, you want to develop the samadhi first, because you need this to go to the next level of vipassana. But once you go to the vipassana level, you have to come back to rest your mind. After you find that you feel tired or restless or agitated, then you just stop contemplating and then come back to samadhi again, to calm your mind down and to bring strength back to your mind. So this is a process of back and forth between the two practices. Okay?
Okay.
Good enough?
Okay. No, that's all for today.
Felix.
For now.
Well, welcome, Anna, Felix. I think this is your first time. Where are you from?
Hi, John. Thank you. I'm from Brazil. I've been in another Zoom meeting with you before. So it was a pleasure to see you.
Okay.
I do have a question. I was wondering about our search for happiness. Like, as human beings, we believe that all of us would desire, like, we're searching for happiness in our lives, and we have skillful ways of doing it and unskillful ways of doing it. But inside this desire, I think there's a desire of feeling loved and accepted by others. And I can see that we can do it with a good intent, but we can also use this feeling as a justification to practice, like to do unskillful acts. So I was wondering if this feeling is a bad thing in our practice, like feeling the need of feeling loved by others around us.
feeling, can you repeat the final phase of your question?
If the feeling we have of being loved by others is a good thing for our practice, if it could be good for our practice or if it's harmful.
You mean your desire for others to love you, to be loved by other people? This is not good because this is defilement, because you can become sad when you're not loved, see. So you should not desire to have anybody to love you. You should love yourself and make yourself happy without having to rely on other people to make you happy. Because other people are not reliable. Sometimes they love you and sometimes they can hate you also. So you should make yourself happy by meditation. Then you will not have to rely on other people to make you happy. So this is the goal of Buddhist practice. It's not to rely on anybody to make you happy, but to rely on yourself by the practice of meditation and vipassana. Once you're happy by this practice, then you don't feel the need to have anybody to love you, to like you, or to even be with you. Because you'll find that being alone is much better than being with someone else. Because people can be bothersome sometimes. Sometimes they can be foolish. And sometimes they can create problems for you. Okay, so it's not good to feel the need to have people to love you. Try to make yourself happy without having to have other people to make you happy, better. Because then you can always make yourself happy. But if you rely on other people, if they disappear, then you can become sad. Or if they change, you can become sad also. From loving you to hating you, for instance.
I was just just a follow up on this question. I was just thinking if like this feeling could raise the willing inside me to become a better person, like to evolve spiritually too, if that feeling could bring these things, and then only on this part of this feeling it could be good, or not even on this.
You should rely on your feelings, because your feeling is not dependable, it's not reliable. Your feelings come and go, it changes. Sometimes you have good feelings and sometimes you have bad feelings. So in order to do good things, you should use rationality instead. By believing in the teaching of the Buddha that by doing good karma, you are making yourself happy. Then this way you don't have to need to have the feeling to push you to do good things. Just use the teaching of the Buddha, the faith in the teaching of the Buddha that by doing good karma, you are making yourself happy. See? Happiness will follow when you do good things, when you help other people, when you are kind, when you are nice to other people, you will feel good. When you are bad to other people, you will feel bad. So this is should be the driving force of your action, not your feelings. Okay? All right. Okay, first Tom, you've been waiting for a while now. Where are you from?
Hi, Ajahn. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm from the US. I stayed at Wat Yan for a few days in March, so I'm really grateful to be able to ask you questions again. I have two questions. The first one is, how should we recollect the Buddha?
There's two ways. You can chant the quality of the Buddha in Pali. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vichacharana sampanno. You can do the translation with the English translation, so you know what the Buddha is, how important he is, how good he is, by reciting the quality of the Buddha. It's like his resume. You're reading his resume. Your teacher's resume, that he graduated from Stanford. He had a PhD in physics, nuclear science and so forth. Once you know his credential, then you can have faith in him. You can trust him and want to rely on him for his teaching. So this is what you should learn about his quality or his credential. Once you know what he can do for you, then you want to follow his teaching. He can take you to Nibbana, where nobody can take you to. He's the only one in this world who can take all of us to Nibbana. Without him, we will still be locked in the samsara. But with him now, we have the possibility of releasing ourselves from samsara. So this is what you should recollect as a form of knowledge. But you can use the recollection of the Buddha as a form of meditation also. Like when you recite the mantra Bhutto Bhutto, you're recollecting the Buddha's name. And you can use this to calm your mind. When you concentrate on the mantra, then you can stop thinking. Then your mind can become calm and peaceful and happy. So these are two methods. Use one for knowledge and one for to calm the mind.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And my second question is, as a layperson trying to develop more samadhi, what are some changes that I should make to my lifestyle to be conducive to samadhi?
Try to be more alone. Try to be less engaged with people and things. Try to reduce your workload. Try to develop more mindfulness when you're alone, and try to sit more, meditate more. You have to be proactive. You cannot wait things to happen. You have to set up a certain goal first. One level, then the next level, and the next level as you push yourself forward. Do more practice and do less work. Do less worldly work. Do more Dhamma work.
Mm-hmm. And when you say being more alone, does that include being more alone from other meditators?
Yes, even when you're staying in the temple, you don't want to mingling or socializing more than you have to.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. We'll go to Matthew. Hi, Matthew. Where are you from? San Francisco? I'm not sure. Have you been in here before? Oh, yes, from DC.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, from DC. Emily had to jump off because she has a meeting.
You got any question this time?
Yeah, I've read that it's important to cultivate feelings of samvega and pasada to help motivate you on the practice. I was hoping that you could talk a little bit more on this.
Samvega, can you translate into English? Yeah.
I guess horror, humiliation, disgust.
Disgust. Well, you should look at samsara as disgusting. See, the rounds of rebirth is not good. It only produces a lot of suffering for the mind, birth, aging, sickness, and death. In order to spur your mind into practicing the Dhamma. See, so you should sometimes try to recollect or contemplate on the nature of your life. That once you are born, you're subjected to aging, sickness, and death, and separation. It is to dispel the delusion to think that being born is good. See? Most people in this world think that being born is good. They celebrate their birthday, right?
Yeah.
But they don't see the suffering that accompanies birth, such as aging, sickness, death, and separation. So this is what you should do to create this disgust in samsara. Then it will then drive you to do more practice.
Okay.
Good. Any more questions?
Yeah, and then I heard that I read that they're supposed to be kind of paired with pasada, or having kind of faith in the path and the awakening, and that you should cultivate both samvega and pasada.
Yes. Once you feel disgust with samsara, then you have to look for a way out. See,
yeah.
And the only way out is Dhamma. So you have to study more Dhamma teaching to find out what you have to do exactly to get you out of samsara.
Thank you.
Okay, looks like we're back to Daniel again. Daniel, you have anything more to say?
I don't have questions. I just can speak about experiences. Something interesting happens sometimes, but not always, as many things. For a while, I had this experience that after a meditation in the evening, when I went to bed, I was lying there, and then I closed my eyes, and after a while, I think, wait a minute, I already closed my eyes. Why do I still perceive some visual information? And one time this was so weird, I still could see some of the surrounding, like the window in the room. I could move my head and then I could still see the edges of the window where it's supposed to be. The colors are different, but the experience was it was so strange because my eyes were closed, but still I could feel the inflow of visual information. And then I feel that this distracts me sometimes on my practice because it's interesting, and I sometimes have to be careful not to get attached to that, I think. How can I protect myself from running after that? I mean, probably it's just stick to the main road, I would say. But
when you feel that you have going out of the road, then you should bring your mind back to the mantra or to your meditation object.
Yes.
Or else you can be deceived or be misled by the vision you see.
Yeah. Sometimes in the meditation, the visions are so strong that they are stronger than reality. Than the stuff I see with the eyes. The images are like high resolution computer rendered images, and they look very intriguing sometimes. But then usually I can center myself. Sometimes also when I go to bed, I have this tingling sensation, and 3 times it happened that I could see scenes from a different place. Like the most impressive one was I was standing in a church and I was a priest, and I could read on a sign my last name but with another first name, and I could find this person online. I did some research and I could find it. After a while, I researched more and more, and I realized it's just a waste of time.
Yes, this is not the path to the cessation of suffering. So it's better to stick to your mantra, or stick to the 3 characteristics of existence. Whatever you see, just treat it as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Then you can leave them alone. They are not the path to enlightenment. They are the path to more delusion.
Yes, the biography of Mechikao helped me a lot to understand.
Yes.
Because Ajahn Mahabua found the right words for her, I think.
Yes, I think she's naughty. She's trying to tell her to stop playing with this visual psychic thing, but she loves it. She finds it interesting. See? And they eventually have to give her the ultimatum: if you still keep playing with your psychic power, I'm not gonna be your teacher anymore.
Mm-hmm.
When he gives this final ultimatum, then she knows she has to stop, and then concentrating on vipassana instead, by contemplating on the body, the feeling, and the states of mind as anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay, we have another person. We haven't let him talk. Hi, Bhatia Janmat. Where are you from? Bhatia, can you hear me? Please unmute your microphone if you want to talk. Maybe not listening or not hearing. Okay.
Okay.
Please, Bhatia, where are you from?
I am from India. Buddhist.
How are you? Unmute the microphone. Cannot hear you. Okay, now you can speak now. Bhatia, Janmat.
Janmat. I am Indian. I am Indian working here in news channels, but I am Buddhist and follows this gymnasium and Vipassana. How to age Vipassana is age above 25 and 30. What is this?
I cannot understand your question. Can you please repeat it again?
Vipassana, right age. What is this right age?
Can anybody understand the question?
No.
It sounds like there's something in the background, some noise. Maybe turn whatever's on off.
Yeah, I cannot understand his question. What he wants to ask. I thought if anybody could understand, can tell me. Can you repeat your question again slowly and clearly?
Tanish, right age is Vipassana above 20, 35.
20, 35. About what?
Vipassana, you wanted to know Vipassana करने के लिए कौन सी एज राइट है?
I'm very sorry. I cannot understand what you say.
I think what he says is he's asking for the right age to do meditation, like
yes.
above 30. Yeah.
There is no age limit. You can do sometime a boy can do meditation also. In the Buddha's time, young boy can become enlightened also. Because the mind has no age. All our mind are of the same age. It's only our body that makes us different. But our mind are not different. We all have the same age as far as the mind is concerned. So some mind is highly developed while they're still just a young boy or young girl. And then they can meditate and develop and become enlightened. Okay? Okay, we are about 1 hour and 34 minutes.
Philip, he raised his hand for a long time. Philip Lim.
Okay, Philip, please.
Yeah, Philip.
Ajahn, I just wanted to clarify earlier where one of our brothers or sisters here mentioned about the consciousness. Number one, is the consciousness the chitta, and does the chitta still exist after the person reaches nibbana? That's what I mean.
Well, see, the chitta, or the terms we use as consciousness, actually refers to two things. The chitta itself, the mind itself, or the knowing element. This one doesn't die with the body, okay? And then we also talk about the chitta, the consciousness that connect to the body, to the 5 sensual organs. This also doesn't die, but it stops functioning after it disconnects from the body. But it goes with the mind. It belongs to the mind. It's part of the mind, the knowing element. When you die, you take the knowing element and the 4 nama khandhas with you. So you can use in your next life. When you're born, then you can connect the 4 nama khandhas to the body, to the new body again. Is this clear enough?
And when a person attains nibbana, the consciousness still exists.
Everything exists just like before you become enlightened. The difference is that now you know that to reborn is not good for the mind, so I just stop rebirth. That's all.
Oh, okay. And the mind doesn't attach to all
Right.
this. Yeah.
To
Okay.
a new body,
Understand.
to any realm of existence. And it exists outside of the realm of existence. We call this nibbana, where there's only peace and happiness all the time.
Understand.
Okay.
Understand.
We have latecomer Christine Jolie. How are you? From Canada.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. I just come in to help to translate the question about this Indian man. And yeah, I would like to help because I understand the question. And
oh my God, bro, don't be racist.
Yeah, but it's okay. Everybody understand now. But I just want to pay respect to Tanajan.
Yes, okay. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Today I'm going to sit 8-day course in a Satipatthana course.
Good. So is this the Goenka?
Not today. Excuse me?
Is this the Goenka meeting?
Yes. This is tomorrow. Tomorrow for 8 days. So we have the Satipatthana book with us, and we can read Buddha's teaching and practice in the same time.
Good.
Yes.
I hope you find some peace and happiness and some wisdom from your practice.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really enjoy listen your Dhamma too because it really inspired me. Thank you.
Okay, good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking for about 1 hour and 38 minutes now. So I think it's about time for me to leave you, but I'll let you have another or two questions. If anybody wants to have any more questions, please go ahead. One or two questions.
Tanajan.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a question. When it comes to the 10 fetters, the first one is Sakaya Ditti, and the 8th one is conceit. Can you explain the difference from this personality view and conceit?
The Sakaya Ditti, this is the wrong view. The view that you think the body and the feeling is you. See, you are the feeling, the body. You are the body. This is the wrong view because the body is not you and the feeling is not you. The body is a physical phenomena, while the feeling is a mental phenomena that rises and ceases by various conditions, and sometimes you cannot control them or manage them. Like you cannot stop the body from getting sick or die. You cannot tell the feeling to only be happy or good feeling. The feeling keeps changing, following the condition that causing it to change. So you have to look at them as like you look at the weather. Why the 8 fetters? This is conceit. This is the understanding of the mind. The mind thinks that it is a self. See? The mind thinks that the mind is the self, and the mind then think that it's better than someone else, or it's worse than someone else, or equal to someone else. This is just the misconception of the mind. In truth, there is no self in the mind either. The mind is just the knowing element. But since it has also the thought and perception, then it can create the concept of a self. So you have to understand this is merely a concept created by the mind. In fact, we are all equal, we are all the same. We are all spiritual beings, we are the knowing elements. Okay?
Sad.
All right. Okay, I think I have to say goodbye for now. Thank you very much for your attendance, your input, and I hope that we all learned something today. And I hope maybe in the next 7 days or so, we'll meet again. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
goodbye.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 sadhu.
Sadhu,
Sadhu.